This is Vonda L. Rogers with Honeymoons and Vacations by Vonda. And this week, we're going to talk about what that title says. All-inclusive resorts versus cruises. Now, last week I talked all about passports. So I'm kind of taking y'all on a virtual travel journey. So we can learn more about the things that you don't know about, because one of my areas of expertise is first-time travelers. So I definitely want to give information to those people who have not traveled before and, have a lot of questions they need answered that they don't want to spend 6 hours on Google trying to figure it out. So, here we go. One of the most common questions I get is, oh, which one is better? Is it all-inclusive resorts, or is it cruises? Or my favorite one, which is, well, all-inclusives are better, right? Because, they're more luxurious and everything. And, no. There's not really a better or a not better. But there are key points that may appeal to some people more than others. So, I'm warning you, there's going to be a part 2 to this video, because I didn't want it to be super duper long where you couldn't get all the information in your head. So I divided it into 2 parts. So today's part is going to be the pros and the cons about all-inclusive resorts. And part 2 will be the pros and the cons about cruising. So if you want to be informed or well informed, I suggest you watch both parts. So, I'm going to warn you, if you kind of see me looking down, I have like a stack of notes because I don't want to forget anything. So, let's get started. Number 1, let me give you some criteria for my comparison, okay? Number 1, we're doing apples for apples, meaning we're doing mass market cruises, I can't talk, which would be like Carnival, Royal Caribbean, the ones that you see television commercials for. Those are mass market cruise lines. And I'm not including any premium or luxury cruise lines, which would be like Princess, Celebrity, Crystal. None of those are included. Okay? Comparing those to mass market resorts, which are like Riu, R-I-U, Riu resorts, or couples resorts. I will not be discussing luxury or premium brands, which is like Sandals or Ritz-Carlton, because that's a whole nother ballgame. So that's number 1. So apples to apples, mass market to mass market. Second, we'll not be discussing exact pricing, because you don't want to get into that. It's too much. So, with that being said, we're going to say that any couple who's looking to do either would have at least $3,500 to spend, because that will at least get you where you need to go. So, now, alright. So, I've divided this into categories. So, and these categories fit either thing, which is resorts or cruises. So, since we've got, I'm going to do the exact same categories for both items, for cruises and for all-inclusives. So, remember, we're only talking about all-inclusives today. So, off we go. First, we got food and beverage. And I'm a foodie. Okay? 100% a foodie. So, this is one of my most important qualifications for any type of travel. So, when you're dealing with all-inclusive resorts, your food and your beverages of all types, whether they're non-alcoholic or alcoholic, are generally provided. And I'll get to what generally means later. So, you're pretty much going to be offered 3 meals a day. You're going to be breakfast, which is usually going to be buffet style. I've been to 25 resorts in my career, and I've never seen breakfast done anyway, but buffet style, unless you order it through room service. But we're just saying in general, you're going to have a buffet for breakfast. Then with lunch, you will have buffets. And some resorts have what I call little pop-up stands. Like there may be a restaurant by the pool that opens up for lunch, or there may be a jerk chicken stand that opens up during lunch. So it's like you have the buffet and you have those little pop-ups if that resort offers them. And you will also have dinner. And dinner is, you can do the buffet or you can do a specialized restaurant. And there are some snack options in between. Like there may be somewhere they offer chips. They'll have chips and drinks, or they may have just little snacky foods in between. Okay. Now, like I said, you have the buffet, but you also have the restaurants. Specialty restaurants vary according to what resort you're on. Some resorts have 12, 13, 14 specialty restaurants. Some have 2. So that's where your pricing comes in. So, you know, there's usually going to be at least 1 or 2 options on any resort for specialty restaurants. Like I said, your beverages are all included, whether there's sodas, whether there's water, whether there's alcoholic beverages. They're all included in the cost of your trip. So that's why they call it all inclusive, because your food and your beverages are included. So remember, right now I'm only doing pros. So these are things that are great about all inclusive resorts. Now, accommodations. Okay, when you go to resorts, you have kind of a wide variety of accommodations that are available to you. And they are your standard room. And a standard room means it's kind of like what you would see in a traditional hotel. You have 1 king size bed, or you'll have 2 queen beds. And your view, because most resorts do have balcony type rooms, meaning that there is a balcony or a terrace for you to go sit out on. Very few resorts do not have that. So your standard room, you're probably going to walk out and either see another building or some dirt or some grass. That's what happens at the standard level. Usually the next level up from that, or some resorts include it as the same category, is your tropical garden rooms. And it's what it says. You're going to see a view of a garden. You're going to see a view of like some tropical looking trees. And that's the view that you're going to have from your balcony area. Next category up is what they call ocean view, which means either you can fully front on see a view of the ocean, or it'll kind of be obstructed, like you'll see part of it, like if you kind of lean your head off your balcony, you can see it, or it'll be straight in front of you. Next is ocean front. Now, ocean front rooms are usually at the back of the resort, quote unquote, meaning more toward the back near the water with most resorts. And that means that you can pretty much walk, you can see the ocean from your room in a different capacity than an ocean view, meaning that it's not going to take you long to get to it. Whereas with the ocean view, you might have to walk 200 or 300 feet, maybe even more. Whereas with the ocean front, you pretty much have to walk 150 feet or less to get to the actual ocean. Then we have what I call specialty rooms, which means you're getting a little more luxurious in your choice, which is a walkout oceanfront, which means you literally step like 10 to 15 steps outside your room and you're in the water. And then there's an infinity pool. Some people call it a swim up. And that means that you kind of have your own private pool attached to your room. And then, of course, there's like a penthouse suite, which means that you kind of get a little bit of everything. You get your own, they're usually, you get your own private pool, you have butler service, that type of thing. So those are the breakdowns of your accommodations. So you have a wide variety to choose from, and that's what makes it great, that everybody can get, you can get in where you fit in. Okay, wherever your price point is, they have an option for you. Okay, entertainment. And when I say entertainment, I mean anything that the resort does on their dime to give you something to partake in or per view. So not just strictly like a show, but also any parties or anything like that. So that all comes under entertainment for me. Resort entertainment, they usually have shows in the evening, and they're kind of like stage productions. Like they'll have different themes, like a Michael Jackson theme is very popular because I've seen that at about 8 different resorts. And usually it's something, it's not always totally Broadway style. It can be more, like I said, like just stage performances, usually with singing and dancing, that type of thing. Some resorts offer games in the afternoon, usually around after lunch. They have games, like they'll have pool games and trivia games and stuff like that. So if you want to, you know, go out and partake in that, you can. And they usually give you like prizes sometimes, like vouchers toward the spa or something to that accord. Then several resorts have theme nights. And the theme nights are like Caribbean night, or the all-white beach party. Hi, Tiny. Hi, Tiny. How you doing? Okay. So they have resort nights that they theme around their particular resort. So, if that works for you, you might want to get involved in that. They have the all-white party, the Caribbean night party, the beach party. That's usually the deal. That's usually about it. Something along those lines. Now, next category. Shore excursions. Now, some of you might not know what shore excursions are. Shore excursions are when you take a trip outside of your particular resort to get immersed in the culture, to see more things, whether you're going to see historical landmarks, whether you're going to go do a little shopping, whether you're going to do something adventuresome like swim with the dolphins, or go on a boat ride, that type of thing. That is what shore excursions are. The thing about shore excursions with resorts is the shore excursion companies are usually lined up in the lobby area of the resort where you usually check in, and they're usually there until about lunchtime or maybe a little bit after, and you can sign up for whatever excursions tickle your fancy. They have books, they have staff members there to explain it from the tour companies, and what excursions you get vary greatly from resort and the area that you're in. So some things are kind of common, like parasailing, that type of thing. Any type of water sports are usually common. Some resorts even offer certain types of water sports complimentary with you staying, and they're usually like water skiing, or they're like something snorkeling sometimes. It just depends on the resort. Okay, so we've gone through all of the pros of all-inclusive resorts. So now we're going to hit the cons, the things that are not so great. Okay? Number 1, in order to even go to an all-inclusive resort, you have to have a passport. So for some people who have issues with passports or can't obtain one or don't have one, or you're planning to go before you can get one back, And if you don't know about passports, definitely watch my last video. Hey, Shauna. And definitely watch my last video about passports so you can learn about getting a passport, the application process, everything. So, all-inclusive resorts are a Caribbean thing 99.9% of the time. So if you're thinking that you're going to go to Hawaii or Puerto Rico and get all-inclusives, not going to happen. They just are not something that is there. And there's a lot of legalities behind that. There's taxes and all that kind of stuff. So that's why they are not a common thing. So anywhere in the continental 48 United States or Hawaii, Puerto Rico, Alaska, you're not going to find all-inclusive resorts. So that's kind of a negative thing. So if you're kind of looking for something local within the U.S., you're not going to really find it. Okay. Negative things about food. Most all-inclusive resorts are not vegan or vegetarian friendly yet. They're working on it, but it's not really happening. It's a slow, very slow process. So unless you plan on eating mainly fruits and veggies, you may want to go another travel route. There are some resorts that are vegan and vegetarian friendly, but it's a small list, a very small list. So if you want to know, just shoot me an email or a message and I'll let you know. Specialty restaurants. If you want to eat at a specialty restaurant, you better be prepared to be in line to reserve it early or reserve it as soon as you get to the resort, because the seating in most specialty restaurants at resorts are limited. And because they're limited, they fill up fast. And if you don't book it quick, you probably won't get to eat there at all during your stay. So that means you'll have to be either at the buffet or, you'll be at the buffet. It's just the end of it. There's no other choices. You're going to be at the buffet. So definitely get in line, rush the line, get there early to sign up, or sign up as soon as you get to the resort if the reservation specialist is out there. Beverages. The negative part of all-inclusives is because they're serving so much complimentary alcohol, they usually don't have top shelf brands. So if you're expecting to get like Crown Royal, Hennessy, all that kind of stuff. I'm not a drinker, so I can't tell you all the names. But if you're expecting that, you're probably not going to get a lot of that. They do have a lot of the popular brands, but they tend not to have as much of the top shelf brands that Americans love and, think that they want to have when they're vacationing. So that's not a common occurrence. They do have some more relaxed, or I'll say local brands that you may want to give a try, especially on the side for beer. But top shelf, you're probably not going to get it, so don't look for it. Now we're going to flip over, since that's it for food and beverages. Seriously, those are the biggest cons. Well, I take that back. There is one more. If you are a super, super picky eater, you might not find a lot of things that you like. The Caribbean is not big on cheese. So a lot of things that we eat with cheese, in the States, they don't serve with cheese. So, a lot of times you may have to ask for cheese on your burger if you like that. They do have some Americanized foods, but they also try to give you something that is, Caribbean oriented. So I would consider that to be a negative if you're super picky about what you eat. Now, on to the entertainment. This is probably the one thing that is, I think, the biggest con about all-inclusive resorts. I'm not going to lie to you because I don't lie to people about travel. Is the entertainment is usually pretty lacking. I have never, out of 25 resort stays, stayed for an entire show. Never. And I've been to the whole gamut. I've been high end, low end, in between, and I've never stayed. And I don't know if it's just that it's not a priority for them, or it's like kind of whatever, you know, we gave you something. I don't know, but I've never just been enthralled to say, okay, well, gosh, you know, this was great. I've never done that. And usually the attendance for shows at all-inclusive resorts is really kind of low. It's really, really low. So I think like the most I've ever seen is maybe 15, 20 people. And I know there's at least 1,000 to 1,500 people on the resort. So those numbers are kind of bad. So it's like, don't expect a lot. If they have the parties, as far as like the parties that they have on the beach or the Caribbean night, and it's still kind of low attendance for that because they tend to just kind of throw some music out there and you dance around and that's it. It's not a lot of interaction. There's not really a lot of effort, I feel, put into entertainment. Now, maybe if I travel to some other resort that'll blow me away, I'll be sure to let y'all know. But as of right now, I have not seen it. Lastly, excursions. Excursions are very similar to specialty restaurants. If you don't get there early, you won't get the good ones. It's just how it is. It's a first come, first serve. Most of the time, most excursions, they kind of cap out at about 30, maybe 30 people. And once they're booked, they automatically push you to the next day because most excursions are at least 2 hours long. Some are 4, some are 6. So they usually can only do one a day, or they usually choose to do one a day. So you automatically get pushed to the next day or pushed to the next available day. And you might not be there long enough. And the other issue I found with short excursions with resorts is they don't tend to offer the excursions like every day, like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, you know, here are the excursions. I mean, unless it's something that's very short. If it's something that's very intensive, like you're doing a historical tour fixed with shopping, those usually are available like every other day. So if you miss the one on Tuesday and the next one's Thursday, you might miss it if you're leaving on Wednesday. So that's a big negative to me. And the other thing is the variety of excursions is not as wide as you may think it may be, because it just depends on whom the resort has partnered with to handle their shore excursions. If they've partnered with somebody, or they've only decided to partner with one particular company, then what's going to be offered is just what that company has and nothing else. Oh, you want my website info? Okay, it is honeymoonsbyvonda.com. honeymoonsbyvonda.com. And I'm also on Facebook where you're watching me, so you can shoot me a message through Facebook as well if you have questions. But that's about it. The bottom line for all-inclusives is this: if you want a very relaxing, low-key type beach vacation, all-inclusives is going to be great. If you're not expecting a lot of activities, if you're not, you just kind of want to be left alone, be in the zone, I've done it. You know, that they're great for that. You know, you go and come when you want. There's not a lot of things to distract you from the things that you want to do then that's the perfect option for you. Plus, you get your meals. You're welcome, sweetie. You get your meals and your alcoholic beverage or non-alcoholic beverage for free. So that's who it's kind of geared toward. There are some places that are adventure oriented, but like I said at the beginning, you know, you just want to kind of do apples for apples on this case. So we're not talking about adventure resorts. But if you want daily travel tips and destination info, be sure to hop on over to Travel with Vonda, which is my Facebook group, where we talk about different travel things, and I give out more, tips and information that I don't put on this page. And also be sure to follow me on Instagram. And once again, my Facebook group is called Travel with Vonda. So check me out on Instagram, which is Honeymoons by Vonda. And I look forward to seeing y'all next week on part 2, where we're going to talk about strictly cruises. We're going to talk about pros and cons of cruises. And I'm going to let you decide which one is best for you, all-inclusives or cruises, and make your decision from there. So thanks for spending your time with me and clicking on this video. I love you all so much. And once again, this is Vonda Rogers with Honeymoons and Vacations by Vonda. And I hope you have a travelific day. Bye.